everyone, and welcome to Torah L'Chaim with your host, Rabbi Anibal Mas. Great to see so many of you already connected online, and we have people here as well in person, which is always good, always good. So maybe I will mention who is around later.
No.
Or not. or not. Let's see who is here to say hello to everyone. Priscilla Carey is here, welcome. David Grossman, just from Tampa, Florida. Bonnie Cham, welcome to Dr. Bonnie Cham. Lee Solomon is with us. Well, Randy is here, welcome Randy. And yeah, I am streaming from the Asper Jewish Community Center here in Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada. Security has been upgraded, let's put it that way. But it's all good. It's all good. Lots of people around here keeping us safe from the craziness that we experience around the world. I don't know what's the situation where you are connecting from. If you want to let me know in the chat, that would be great. Jerome Fomin, it says, "Hi Rabbi, I'm dog sitting today." Does it mean he's sitting like a dog or he's taking care of a dog? I don't know, but welcome, Jerome. Welcome. I said Jerome always, if he can, he comes in person, so we understand, Jerome. And I hope you're going to enjoy the class from home as well. So yeah, crazy days for the Jewish people, but nevertheless, we stay strong, we study Torah, and we find in the Torah inspiration to keep moving forward. And this is not just because of the war in Israel, but it should be every day of our lives. Every day of our lives, we should be able to find the inspiration in the Torah. There is something that I always surprised me. And I don't know, guys, if you have the same experience here, that the self-help industry, there are all these gurus that they publish these books to fix people's life. It's $1 billion or more industry, right? And people they won't know what to do. They go and buy these books, and they pay also thousands of dollars to people to fix their lives, right? Many of those people are Jews, right? That people who go to these books. And I had the chance to talk to some of them, and I said, "Have you ever tried studying Torah?" No. Why would I? I said, "Wait a minute, what would you?" The Torah, it's been there to help us, overcome things in life for thousands of years, and you don't even give it a try. Anyway, so we need to improve, and we need to increase our Torah learning in these days to find the strength that we need. Who else is there? Tzahol. Randy, you want to know the meaning of tzahol? What is tzahol? Oh, tzahal. Okay, Jerome understood. That's IDF, Randy. IDF is in Hebrew it's tzahal. They are initials. Tzava Hagana LeIsrael, and in English is Israel Defense Forces. So that's what it is. Okay. Who else is here? Amparo Goldman and Holly Mandelkern. Okay, we are going to begin with the class, studying Parshat Noach. It's the second Torah portion of the book of Genesis, and it's very interesting because this is the parsha where we learn about the flood. The world was filled with evil. Okay. And I want to tell you something that is, I mentioned it for a bar mitzvah that we had last weekend, where the bar mitzvah boy had the opportunity to read from Parshat Noach, right? And you see the Parshat Noach, when God is saying that the world was full of evil, the word used there is Hamas. Do you know that? Lawlessness and evil and the word in Hebrew is Hamas. You cannot make up that. And then, but it's and then the parsha, the opening, shows two different models. One is Noah, and it's called Ish Tzaddik, a tzaddik, a righteous person, and the opposite, presented by the Torah, is the word Hamas. So we already know that being a tzaddik, being a righteous person, and also it says that Noah walked with God. There was an awareness of the presence of God. That is called a tzaddik, basically. And yeah, I just found it amazing. Here, Shelly Chochinov, sorry I cannot attend in person today. That's okay, Shelly, I know you're there. Okay, so I will bring you some text from Noah. Let me put it this way. There you go. Here we go. And let's read a little bit. This is now, we're going to study about God telling Noah that he had to enter to the ark. You know the story. All the chaos on earth reached levels that were not sustainable anymore. And which is interesting. Because you can always ask, okay, what is the level that is unsustainable? What happened before Noah? Because why did God wait? Why did God wait so long, so many generations, until God decided to wipe out humanity? Any guesses?
God has patience.
Patience for what?
God is optimistic.
Okay, any question? Optimistic, but you say I always have optimistic for what? What is the outcome that God is hoping for?
So that humans are capable of change.
Okay. Which is interesting. We are going to see, hopefully, towards the middle of the class, that in reality, sometimes God doesn't expect people to change, but what God expects is for people to stop evil. It's our responsibility to detect evil and to stop it. We will see that one of the first, according to the rabbis, one of the first things that humanity needed to do after the flood was to create courts of justice. Some kind of legal system. Okay? And God gave humanity a warning. I said, I'm not going to send the flood anymore to wipe out evil. It's up to you now. Before you play dumb, okay, because God never said out loud before the flood, right? You have to create courts of law. There was no commandment in the Torah. It's almost like God gave humanity the ability of figure out some kind of laws to rule society without any guidance. Can humanity do it without any guidance? Clearly not. But the same happened with Adam and Eve. Okay? Even though it was a commandment, you should not eat for the fruit, boom, they went and eat it. But after that, we have Cain and Abel, right? What happened with Cain and Abel? Cain killed Abel. Was that bad?
There was no rule of law.
God never said, you shall not kill your brother. Right? But we see for Cain's answer, when God accused him of doing something to Abel, Cain was trying to find an excuse. Am I my brother's keeper? It's almost like he knew that it was bad. God didn't have to say, but he knew it. He sensed that something wasn't right of what he did, but still didn't take responsibility. Adam and Eve, when they ate the fruit also, no responsibility. Oh, well, the woman, she gave it to me. And the woman, oh, well, the snake, it tricked me. Right? And then you can say, okay, fine. Many generations goes by, and we have the corruption of the generation of Noah. Okay? Let's see what people say here. Currently, Louis Smith, oh, he's talking about the jokes of the two boats and an helicopter. You know the jokes of the boat and an helicopter? It's a famous one. Okay, Priscilla said, God knows the outcome from the A to Z. Will not repent, but he want to give them a chance. Okay, he want to give it a chance, of course. God was hoping humanity would reset and be more righteous. True, he already know the outcome. Yeah, but it's. I think we are getting a message there, because again, we shouldn't fall into the trap of trying to understand all this story as factual, right? We need to see the principles and the messages there. Because I know that I've seen people spending countless of hours trying to understand the historical accuracy of all the narration of the flood and everything, right? And I think they're missing the point, or let me say, no pun intended, they're missing the boat of the real reason why these stories are in the Torah. Not to teach us story, but to teach us morals. That there is something here for us to learn in the moral department. And that is that most of the time we know what is right and what is wrong. Okay? It's just that we don't care and we do evil. Or we care a little bit and we let evil continue, right? Because we don't want to get involved. And many things in between. But there was someone that it was Noah that he said, no, I'm not going to follow that path. And he didn't fall into evil. But again, Noah wasn't perfect. He was a tzaddik, but he wasn't a full tzaddik. Noah, was he a full tzaddik?
How would he know? How would anyone know?
Well, how did Abraham know? We'll see. We'll see in a minute. Now, we're in Genesis 7:1. It says, this is already when the rain started, okay? Noah already built the ark. Hashem said to Noah, come into the ark, you and your household, for I have seen that you alone in this generation are righteous before me. Okay? You alone. Oh yeah, Holy Mandelkern is reminding us that before this, when Noah is described, it says righteous in his generation. And that is actually, Holy, the thing with that righteous in his generation is difficult to understand because is God praising Noah? He said, hey, look, even though this generation was evil, he was a righteous person. Or is God making it a relative thing? I said, well, Noah was righteous in this generation. As he was born in Abraham's generation, he will be one more. Right? It doesn't read there. It's from a previous verse. But yeah, that's why that verse that it said, righteous in his generation is not clear what God is trying to tell us. If Noah was a perfect tzaddik in the midst of evil, or a relative tzaddik because everybody else was so corrupt. Which brings us the question, I don't know if you ever thought about that, being a tzaddik is an absolute or is relative to who you have around you?
Well, yeah, he says righteous before me.
No, yeah, in this verse, but there is another verse before that just says righteous in his generation. Is that the relative? It's because it's being righteous, being a tzaddik. Is that I cannot know how tzaddik you are until I compare you with the people around you, or there is standard that it will determine who is a tzaddik and who is not, regardless of where you are. And let me present it in a different way, right? Because the fact is that we all are somehow influenced by our environment, by where you are, where you grew up, right? So you have to unlearn many things that you learn sometimes and overcome certain traumas that you bring with you. So perhaps if Noah was a relative tzaddik, it means that God is saying, okay, good for you that you were able to overcome certain things, right? But there were others that you weren't able to because you have so much to overcome them. But perhaps if you were born in a more positive generation, he could be a higher tzaddik. If he will come to this world with less trauma and less things to unlearn, to undo. You know what I mean? It's like you can have people coming from a messed up family. Right? Sometimes you have to celebrate that the person ended high school, right? And you will see that it's a huge achievement. If you knew where that person is coming from, the fact that a person ended high school is huge, right?
Generational trauma.
But then another person that was born, in an affluent family, right? For that person to finish university, maybe it's not a big deal, right? So, is it a relative or is it an absolute? We don't know. We don't know the answer. But we do know, though, that Noah was not the father of Israel. Right? God waited until Abraham to say, you are the first. We are going to see what's different between one and the other. Okay. Back to the verse. Hashem said, come to the ark, you and your household, for I have seen that you alone in generation are righteous before me. And then in Genesis 8, this is at the end of the flood. Okay? God said to Noah, go out from the ark, you, your wife, your sons, and your son's wife with you. Can you see the difference between one and the other? One is coming to the ark, the other one is now come out. Let's see the explanation. What the rabbis say about this. Okay, first, let's read a little bit of understanding from the Baal Shem Tov. He said, come into the ark. The word for ark, teiva, also means word. Okay? Teiva also means word. Come into the word, said God. Enter within the words of prayer and Torah study. Here you find a sanctuary of wisdom, meaning and holiness amidst the raging floodwaters of life. What about that? You see, this is another way to read Torah. We are studying now all the allegories and metaphors within the text. So here, Baal Shem Tov said, okay, don't think about the ark for a minute as a physical ark, okay? And don't think about the flood as a physical flood. Because he will say there is a so-called flood in every generation. Maybe what you consider to be like a tragic flood in your life will be different than what I consider to be a tragic flood in my life, and so forth. Okay? How do you protect yourself from the flood? Right? Baal Shem Tov said you have to enter into the ark. What does it mean, enter into the ark? Enter into the Teva. Said enter into the word, which means prayer and Torah study. It's what I said at the beginning. Torah study can give you the strength that you need to make it through to the other side of the flood. And prayer is also another tool that we have. Prayer in the sense of establishing a dialogue with God, a relationship with God, to feel that we have someone to talk to whenever something happens. Okay? Yeah. But then this is the interesting thing. Look at the next part of the Baal Shem Tov. This is where it becomes real for us. I said, now go out from the ark. Okay? This too is a divine command. God commands us to enter into the ark, into the sanctum of spirituality we are to create in the material world. But then we must go out of the ark to carry forth its sanctity to the ends of the earth. So going into, prayer, Torah study, and talking to God is a good thing. But it's not something that is permanent. Once you are there, once you feel safe, you have to come out and do your part in society. And we all know people that all they do is to study Torah, all they do is to pray. What do they do other than that? Very little. So the Baal Shem Tov said that it has to be a balance. You come to the ark to get out of the ark. And yeah, not entering when you should is dangerous. Not getting out when you should is also dangerous for us. It's such truth. Let's see what people say here. Shelley Judge, said, yeah, but he was first a zookeeper. Okay. To set you free. Many arks at the covenant, Noah's ark, the ark. Yeah, and I want to show you something. I don't know if I have it here. The other thing of the ark, I don't know if you remember. Remember the commandment of God how to build the ark? That has to cover it with pitch, I think it's called. So the waters won't get inside, right? And I think that's a wonderful metaphor as well. The sense that you can go through a flood without the waters getting inside. Because I think that's the problem. As soon as there is a crack, is when we start getting, when you start getting those feelings inside. It's when you let the outside get inside. So that is also a beautiful metaphor. And I don't know, but we all let that happen this week. You let some people comments or the news or some threats posted online. You let that get into the inside. But God said, when you make the ark, you have to, isolate it, so you won't get those leaks inside, which is beautiful. Now, go back to the coming to the ark. Okay, I have the other comment here, and now, according to the rabbis, is when we start seeing the flaws of Noah and why Noah didn't become the father of Israel. It says, Noah went into the ark with his son, his wife, and his son's wife because of the flood waters. Okay? Why is that so important? That because of the flood waters? Listen to this. Rashi explains, even Noah himself was considered one of those with only modest faith. Noah did not enter the ark until the rains fell, and he realized that disaster was imminent. It's almost like God told Noah, okay, build the ark. Okay, he built the ark. Okay, now get into the ark. He didn't. He didn't get into the ark. Why not? I said, well, no, so maybe it's not going to be a flood. I don't know. Maybe I misunderstood. Then it started raining. Okay, come into the ark. I don't know. Then the Midrash said when he had the water up to his neck, he said, okay, this is a flood. And that's when he entered to the ark. Funny thing is all the animals were already there. And he wasn't sure yet. It's also talk about the way we read signs around us. There is a difference between being optimistic and naive. And I understand that Noah was probably optimistic that maybe God changed his mind. But then he saw that the waters keep going up, 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 and God has to tell him, dude, get into the ark to do it. So for Rashi, this is red flag number 1 of Noah. Okay, let's see the other one. Okay, now we have what I mentioned before, Rocky, that these are the generation of Noah. Noah was righteous man and perfect in his generation. Okay, in his generation. So we'll see the main. Okay, here Rashi gives a little teaching. Let's go quickly over this one. Let me read it again and you will understand. It said, these are the generation of Noah. Okay? Noah was a righteous man. Do you understand this? When you say in the Torah, these are the generation of so and so, what comes after? If I say, if you read the Torah and the Torah says, these are the generations of so and so, what comes after? What are you expecting after that statement? The names. The names. Right? If I said these are the generations of somebody, you are expecting the name. But look at here. These are the generation of Noah. Noah was a righteous man and perfect in the generations. Noah walked with God. We are the generation. We are the kids. So Rashi says, I will go back to this. The main offspring of righteous people are their good deeds. The true descendants of a tzaddik are not the physical children he leaves behind, but his acts of kindness. Why is that? This could be explained in a rational way. When we have children, right? When we are gone, they stay. And they continue our lives. When you do good things for the world, right? The impact of all that kindness, all that goodness, all the charity you gave, the impact will continue being in the world even after you're gone. Just like your children. Let's say that you pay for somebody's education, right? And you made an impact on that person's life, and now it's going to go do great things around. After you die, the person is still going to be doing great things thanks of the kindness that you did. So that's why the Torah is not the only time that we read this, that immediately after talking about the descendants or the generations, the Torah will bring the good things they did. That's
What about the children?
also,
You raise children to be righteous.
of course,
Children do righteous things.
but that's
You may be credit for that.
the common thing, right? The common thing is, of course, you continue in your children. It's almost like everybody knows that. It's a logical thing, but it's not so logical to understand that your good deeds are also something that stays after you're gone. And this is the first time that we learn this in the Torah. So it's clear that the Torah is teaching something that is not so clear for us. Otherwise, it wouldn't bring it up. It's sorry?
Not sure I agree.
The what?
Aren't, wouldn't many people say that their main offspring, if they're a righteous person, is the kind of children they produce?
Yeah, well, in the case of Noah, actually, not all his children were good. I don't know if you remember what happened after the flood, right? But eventually, the Torah will talk about his children. But it's also talking about here the thing about how the main offspring are the good deeds. And we know many people that they were great people and they did great thing for society and for the world. And their children didn't follow after their steps. And even in the Torah, we have many cases like that. Look at Isaac, for example, when you have Jacob and Esau, right? So, very interesting thing. Let's continue. Now, let's try to understand in his generation. Remember, I mentioned before this. It says, some of our sages interpret the words in his generations in Noah's favor and note how much more righteous he would have been if he had lived in the generation of righteous people. Okay? Here the rabbis are talking about potential. Okay? You know, it's like every person coming to this world has certain potential. The potential will take you that far, depends on how many people you will have around you to nurture that potential. Otherwise, you will have to figure out anything by yourself. You can't go that far. And this is true in every area, right? It's let's say that you have a great ability for medicine. You have a great scientific mind. But how much can you figure it out by yourself without mentors? So, and there are many people that they can figure out great things without mentors. And then I always hear the same thing. Can you imagine if that person could be properly mentored? How much further, or how many more great things they will discover? So this is the same. I said Noah had a great sense of ethics, a great sense of moral, but he had no he couldn't go and read a book about something. You know how much benefit we have in this generation, that if you want to learn about something, you go to the library, you pick up a book, you go to the internet, you search about it, and you can study about it. You can find somebody else and I have a great outcome out of that debate. Noah didn't have any of that. He didn't have a teacher. He didn't have, let's say, this word, he couldn't go to yeshiva to learn. No rabbis, no role models. And I see this all the time with my bar mitzvah students, that sometimes they talk about their role models, right? A role model that it will inspire you. Noah didn't have any of that. And he still managed to avoid becoming an evil person. Okay? So the Talmud asks, can you imagine how much more he could have achieved had he lived in a generation of righteous people? Now, other sages interpret the phrase derogatorily by explaining that in comparison with Noah's own generation, he was considered righteous. But if he had lived in Abraham's generation, he would not have been considered of any importance. And I will leave it there because you can pick your side. They're both, this is a part of a lengthier discussion in the Talmud, as you can see. The Talmud is never short. It's never one paragraph. And they bring, the rabbis bring different arguments for one side or the other. Okay? Yeah, Shelley Chochinov said, everything Noah did was intuitive. Okay? Out of intuition. Amparo, you said, Noah reproved the people of his generation from a humanistic point of view. He admonished them concerning their interaction between people. Interesting that you say that, Amparo, because the rabbis will say that the biggest problem with Noah is that he did not do that. He did not rebuke anybody. Let's see. Let's see what I'm talking about. Now, I'll be almost there, Amparo, to answer your question, to respond to your statement. Now, let's continue with the opinion of the Maharal of Prague. He said, as the lone tzaddik in a completely corrupt society, Noah's ability to ascend the spiritual ladder was constricted. The companionship and inspiration of such a great man as Abraham would have made Noah greater. This potential was what made Noah worthy of being saved from the flood, although the deplorable condition of his generation prevented him from achieving his potential. His spiritual stature was such that he had lived in a more conducive time, he would have been even greater. Noah was prevented by circumstances from reaching higher than he did, but his total desire to serve God was rewarded. Now, why would the Maharal say this? Because all these rabbis never say anything because they just feel it. What will be the precedent that moved the Maharal to say this? And the answer is the life of Abraham. When Abraham had all this desire to serve God and all these great ideas, when he figured out that there is one God, right? This is amazing. What is the first thing that God said to Abraham? Remember the words when God called Abraham? Two words, Lech Lecha. What does it mean, Lech Lecha? It's usually translated as go forth, right? In other words, you can translate that, get the heck out of there. That place is not for good. It's not good for you. You're gonna get stuck because it's a toxic place, basically, where you live right now. So go to a different place if you want to keep growing. And how do we know that? Because God said, Lech Lecha. Lecha is to you, for your benefit. Leaving that land will be on your benefit. Look what happened with Noah. Noah didn't have anywhere to go. God couldn't say to Noah, Lech Lecha, because he had nowhere to go. Everybody was equally evil. In Abraham's generation, it looks like not everywhere was the same. And in fact, you would say, well, but weren't people in Canaan and land of Israel, weren't all this pretty much the same? They all worship idols and everything. And then the rabbis, there is nothing in the Torah that will explain why they were different. But the Midrash will explain something that is brilliant. It's brilliant because it says, how many years would people live in the times of Noah? How long were the lifespans? Remember? Roughly. Almost 1,000 years. Everybody will live around 900 and something, right? Who was the one who beat the record? Methuselah, how do you say? Methuselah, right? He was the one who beat all the records of longevity. Now, which means that if you count years and generations in between Noah and Abraham, right? Because eventually God changed that. Eventually God said people are not going to live that long. From now on, the max is going to be 120. Okay? But that's another episode in the Torah. So what happened is, if you put all the thing together and you count generations between Noah and Abraham, technically Noah was still alive when Abraham was born. And so was Noah's son Shem. Shem, the father of the Semites, right? So the Midrash will say that Shem opened like a house of study. Shem became very acquainted of God and learned, because when you live 900 years, you have a lot of time to experience things by yourself. Then if you're willing to learn, I will teach you. So where Abraham was living, he had no one to guide him. So it's almost like God said to Abraham, get out of there. I will send you somewhere else where you're going to meet a couple of great people there. So according to the Midrash, Abraham learned from Noah a little bit can't remember, I think if Isaac was also there is an overlap with Noah, or Noah was already dead. I can't remember all those little details. But he said that's why God sent Abraham to that land, because if you follow the years in the Bible, that's what you get. That there is an overlap between Noah and Abraham. Anyway, yeah, Methuselah lived 969 years. Anyway, so basically when the Maharal of Prague says this about Noah, is comparing the life of Noah with the life of Abraham. Abraham was going in the same direction, no guidance, just potential. But God this time fixed it, but said, you reach all your potential you can reach in that place. Now get out, and I will send you to a better place so you can flourish. And then the rest is history. We know about what Abraham did. And this is why it's so important to get the right mentors. I learned something that is very interesting. That is, how do you improve your life? Okay? And in any area that you want to improve your life, said that you have different ways, and they all start with the letter M. Okay? First M is mistakes. You make a mistake, you learn. You make a lot of mistake, you learn more. Then you make the same mistake. Hopefully this time you will learn it. Okay? And that's one way to learn. We all learn that. I mean, if you could live 1,000 years like Methuselah or Noah or whatever, I can guarantee you that after 1,000 years, you will make enough mistakes to learn everything you need to learn. Okay? But there is another M that can take you there, and that is mentors. Why? Because mentors, they already make the mistakes. That's why they are called mentors. They already made a mistake. So they will teach you what you have to do so you won't make the same mistakes. Okay? So this is something that you can say about Noah. He already made all these mistakes. Now he meets this great guy called Abraham. He wants to do so many things, and now Noah will say, okay, Abraham, let me tell you my story. Okay? So you won't make the same mistakes. And that's why Noah is described by the Torah that with God walked Noah. What does it mean with God? Think about that in a minute. What does it mean with God? when God talked to Abraham, God said to Abraham, Teilech lefanai, walk in front of me. What is the difference between walking in front of God versus with God? Okay, let me tell you.
There's a certain arrogance with Lefanai that you wouldn't have if you're walking beside.
The what, sorry?
There's a certain arrogance that you would have if you're walking Lefanai in front of as opposed to walking with.
But God is asking Abraham to walk in front.
God's idea.
That's the thing. And then basically, what the rabbis understand out of that is with God means, whatever God says, I will do. If God doesn't tell me, I won't even try to figure it out by myself. I will do exactly what God tells me. But with Abraham, we'll say, you have to take the initiative. And that's why when God said that to Abraham, God empowered Abraham to even challenge God. What are you going to destroy Sodom? Said Abraham to God. What if there are 50 righteous people there? No, I will never say that. God said to Noah, there is evil everywhere. Build the ark, save yourself. What did Noah say? Yes, sir. Did he convince even one person to change? No. No one. And you will see that when God said Lech Lecha to Abraham, leave your city, you will say that Abraham left with who? Sarah, his wife, Lot, his nephew, and the Torah said, and all the souls he made there, all the converts that came with him. About Noah, we never learned this. Again, second red flag for Noah. He never did anything to try to change people. Lee Solomon, you said, walk in front of me so that I can keep my eyes on you like I did with my children little. Yeah, but I think for the children, you have to, it's like, for little children, you say, walk with me. You hold their hands, right? And if you don't move, they don't move. They stay there. Only when somebody reaches certain age of maturity, you can say, okay, now you can walk in front, right? So this is the same thing. That's why Noah wasn't there, but that's why the Midrash will say that Abraham had the opportunity to learn all this from his mentor, the one who already made the mistakes. Oh, and I said that all the words are with him, right? Mistakes, mentor. And then the other one, in these days at least, is money. Money will pay for an education. That you can pay to an institution to teach you what you need to know. So, you want to be better? 3 ways: mistakes, mentors, and money. But the slowest of the 3 is mistakes. Why do you want to go through mistakes before you learn something when you can get someone who already went through the mistakes, who can save you lots of pain? I don't know. I'd rather learn through somebody else's mistakes than my own. Just saying. Shelley Judge, say, what about the mitzvot? Yes, we have the mitzvot, but it's also, at least in rabbinic Judaism, the kind of Judaism we practice, this is a story of the rabbis taking initiative. They won't wait because God is not telling us exactly what to do anymore. So what are we going to do? Get stuck with whatever we got last time that God spoke to humanity? No, we keep moving forward. We take initiative. That's it. But we were empowered by God through Abraham to do that. go to the next one. Yeah. And then after the flood, listen to this, God spoke to Noah and his sons with him. And he said, as for me, I am herewith establishing my covenant with you, with your descendants after you, and with every living creature that is with you, the birds, the livestock, and every wild animal with you, all going out of the ark, every animal on earth. I will establish my covenant with you, that never again will all living beings be destroyed by the waters of a flood, and there will never again be a flood to destroy the earth. And this is understood as from now on the responsibility to stop evil comes to us. And then you will see that God will place the rainbow on the sky as a reminder of this. Okay? And I know that it was, who was it? Two popes ago was John Paul II. That he actually, I remember because I received a phone call from a reporter. He said, what do you think about what the Pope said? What did the Pope say? I said, the Pope said that God will never send the flood to destroy humanity, but God can send something else. Maybe God won't destroy humanity by water, but next time will be by fire. What do you think about that? Can I have a minute to think about it? I got off guard when I got that. But in general, it's understood by the rabbis as the covenant implies that from now on, we are going to establish our own frame of law to avoid this from happening again. Okay, and you will see that the way it translates in general terms is what we call the 7 laws of Noah. Have you ever heard about the 7 laws of Noah? People who non-Jewish people who follow this are called Noachites, and we believe that every Noachite go to heaven. You know, this is a very touchy thing in every religion. That most religions would say if you don't look at God, if you don't accept God the way we do, we go to heaven, you go to hell, right? Judaism, we say, look, if you are not a Jew, all you have to do is to fulfill the 7 laws of Noah. That is the covenant between God and humanity, and you're going to heaven. Now, if you are a Jew, you have to do not just these 7 laws, you also have to fulfill the 613 commandments. In the Talmud, this was one of the arguments for people to stop people who wanted to convert to Judaism. I said, do you realize that right now, all you have to do is to be a good person. You can eat whatever you want, right? If you become a Jew, just being a good person is not enough. You have to start fulfilling all the commandments. You have to keep kashrut. You have to circumcise yourself, right? And then the Talmud continues. And I said, if the person said, I'm aware of that, and I still want to do it, I said, then you take it to the mikvah. But it's going through this. So which are the 7 laws of Noah, according to the Talmud, are, number 1, prohibition of blasphemy. Okay? Number 2, the prohibition of idolatry. So in other words, this means that every religion in the world that does not believe in idols is immediately a Noahide religion. Islam is automatically a Noahide religion, according to the rabbis. Christianity, it was a big debate in the Middle Ages. But I think the debate was motivated by political reasons. In these days, there is an agreement that Christianity, it is a Noahide religion. It was a big confusion with the concept of Trinity. Is it the belief in Trinity is belief in idols or not? Because you're not believing in the one God. But then the Christian will explain to you that yes, it is the one God, just experienced in 3 different ways. We are talking about times where there was no dialogue between rabbis and priests. We are living in a generation with, after the dialogue, we can understand better other religions. So Christianity was incorporated to the list of Noahide religions. Next, number 3, the requirement of maintaining courts to provide legal recourse. It's a law. Number 4, prohibition of murder. Number 5, the prohibition of sexual misconduct or adultery. Number 6, the prohibition of theft. Number 7, the prohibition of eating flesh taken from an animal while it's still alive. But that's the only restriction, but that means that if you kill the animal to eat, you can eat any animal you want. Can Noahides eat pig? Yes, they can. Can Noahides eat shellfish? Yes, they can. The only restriction is they have to slaughter the animal before they eat it. It doesn't even say how to slaughter the animal. We as Jews, we have more complex law. We can't eat any animal we want. The animal has to be slaughtered in a special way through a shecht. Right? So that's what it is. But this is called the laws of Noah, even though the verses to justify this are found in parts of the Torah before Noah. Okay? And I will do it quickly, and we are going to close with this. Look, where it's coming from. Here. It's coming from Genesis 2, 16 to 17. This is the source for the 7 laws of Noah. It's almost implied that the laws were always there, but humanity didn't want to see it. Now God said it out loud and explicitly. It says, Hashem, God, commanded the man, saying, from every tree in the garden you may eat. Right? Now, listen to how the rabbis explain every word from there. They said, Hashem implies the prohibition of blasphemy. Okay? As it said in Leviticus 24:16, he who blasphemes the name of Hashem shall die. Number 2, God is a reference to idolatry, for it says in Exodus 23, you shall have no other God before me. Number 3, commanded is a reference to laws of justice, for it says in Genesis 18:19, for I have known him, so he will command his children after him to keep the way of the Lord and righteousness and justice. Then we have number 4, the man is a prohibition of murder. God explicitly commands Noah, if one sheds the blood of the man shall his own blood be shed. Okay? Saying refers to sexual misconduct or adultery, as the prophet Jeremiah says, saying if a man divorces his wife. Number 6, from every tree in the garden is an implicit prohibition of theft. It shows that permission is needed to take something that is not explicitly yours. Number 7, you may eat implies that there are things which may not be eaten. In this case, the limbs of a live animal. Okay? So, of course, that is the Talmud, it will expand and explain each one of that with multiple examples and more explanations, but I just want to make it clear that it is implicit that all these laws existed before Noah, but nobody did anything until God explicitly said it after Noah, that it has to be observed by anyone. And if there is something that we learn, is that, yeah, we need the law. Without a law, you know what people said, no, we don't need the law, we can figure things out. You know, no, it never worked that way. People may have good intentions, but it doesn't work that way. Okay, everyone, thank you so much for your attention. It's already 1:06. We are 6 minutes in overtime here. The class will be rebroadcasted at 8 p.m. tonight, Central Time, if you missed the part. you can go on 8 p.m. and catch the restream. So, yeah. And also next week, same times at noon Central Time, here at the Asper campus or online. So thank you so much, everyone. Stay safe. Let's keep praying for Israel. And if you haven't done so, send a donation to support the Israel efforts to establish peace in the region as soon as possible. So we all pray for that. Thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Stay safe. See you soon. Bye.